Palestine Commission, you know. And maybe, you know, maybe because there are common points between the imperialism of the state and the colonialism.
Yeah, but there's a difference between what governments do and what the ordinary people. And at the governmental level, it's still the alliance is very strong. There's no question about that. Israel remains the U.S.'s strategic asset in the Middle East. I'm talking at the level of people. At the level of people, there's been a big change. As I said, you could see what happened with the Carter book. They did everything they could to destroy him, and he came out on top. He came out smelling like a rose. Because Carter may be a decent person, but he'll always remain a politician. He would never have written the book unless he knew there was an audience out there waiting to hear it. He knows what's, because he's involved with all the religious groups which send delegations to Jerusalem and come back and don't like what's going on. The religious groups that send delegations to Bethlehem and don't like what that wall did to Bethlehem, So he's in touch with all of them. And so he knows there's an audience for that book. Otherwise, I don't think he would have written it.
And how the public opinion see Norman Filkenstein, which is the opinion of the public, the American public in general, about what you do, how maybe the Jews that they, the detractors of Norman Finkelstein see you, or which is the critic that maybe affects you more, for instance?
Institutionally, obviously I have problems. I can't get a teaching job, and it's very hard for me to get published. But when I speak, I don't notice any great hostility anymore. Because frankly, I'm now considered conservative. When I speak here, people don't like what I have to say.
This morning was like...
I know, they don't like what I have to say.
I personally, I like it, not because you are in front of me now, but personally I really like it, so...
But I'm not a conservative, because I'm not going to talk about one state, and I'm going to tell you what I think can win, and what I think can win is international law. So, when people hear me talk about international law and Gandhi, it's hard to be too critical of me. I'm not talking about Lenin, I'm just talking about Gandhi. So, I guess I'm more acceptable now. I still get angry. During the Lebanon War, I was pretty tough on Israel. I'll support Hezbollah openly. I think they're good. I'm not going to change my mind about it. But I'm considered much more reasonable. I don't use words like Zionism anymore because I want to win. I don't want to talk to myself. It's been my whole life. So you'd like to see at the end to something come of it. I started when I was a young man, and I used to joke because my best friend in Palestine, his name is Musa Abu Heshesh. And he lives right outside Al-Fawar camp. Al-Fawar.
Yeah.
And right outside, right across the street, it's a big mountain, which is actually in Zone C, it's Israeli. Yeah. And he built his house all the way at the top of the mountain. So I said, soon you're going to have to take me up in a wheelchair. Because, it's a very steep mountain, it's very hard. And, you start off walking, then the cane, and then the wheelchair to get me up here. So you spend your whole life on it. And the thing is, I do think it's winnable. That's the thing. I don't think this can't be won. It's a big problem because there's no leadership in Palestine. That's a problem. But if they got their act together, I am pretty certain they could have knocked down the wall. They would have had a big problem in Israel with that international. You remember, you follow Palestine, I know.
I'm living there, yeah.
Okay, so do you remember the Israeli government panicked when the International Court said it was going to issue an advisory opinion? They said, should we go? Should we not go? Should we make a defense? Should we ignore it? They thought in their minds, this is going to be like the Balfour Declaration. It's going to be a disaster for us. Little did they know that the Palestinians will win everything, and the leadership did nothing with it. That's not how the Zionists... What was the Balfour Declaration? It was 90 words. 90 words, and every single person on earth knows the Balfour Declaration. That's what they do with their victories. And what do we do with ours? Into the garbage pail. They thought that the Palestinians would actually use it. Little did they know, nothing. Nothing. If we use the victories, you say, okay, you got your partition resolution. Abram keeps saying that's your birth certificate. Well, we get a birth certificate every year. Every year, the UN General Assembly, the same General Assembly, except much more representative than it was back then, and with a much bigger majority than back then. Every year, we get a birth certificate. So if your 1 is good, why isn't our 10 good? How do you answer? You can't answer it. You cannot answer it. There's such huge opportunities. And I think it could have been won. I think they could win on the checkpoints. Because there's enough, international law out there, the Human Rights Watch, the Amnesty International, B'Tselem, they all published reports on the checkpoints. And then all you have to do is distribute it. Here's what every human rights organization said. These checkpoints are illegal. They are illegal under international law because they are blocking the movement of people, and that's illegal under the Geneva Convention. You're supposed to have the free movement of people. A good mass campaign in occupied territories, every village, dismantling the checkpoint, holding up the Amnesty International report, where the reporters were just doing what Amnesty said, or holding up the B'Tselem report, and are we doing our job here? They would have had a big problem. A very, very big problem. Okay, we're trying to stop terrorist attacks on Israel. Well, but all the checkpoints are on the West Bank. They're not on the border with Israel. So why do you have checkpoints there? If you want to block terrorist attacks, okay, you have checkpoints on the border with Israel, but why do you have checkpoints in these little villages? Yeah. These are winnable issues. They are winnable. And there's no leadership there. Here, we talk about 1 state, 2 states, 3 states, 4 states.
Well, I think, in my opinion, usually from outside, the reality from there, it's always really far away from what people are talking outside, you know what I mean? For instance, I don't see that when I'm there on the field, some people are still talking about 1 state or 2 states, but for some people it's another debate, this is not the issue,
They don't talk anything there now. It's so terrible.
Yeah, because...
They've been broken.
Yeah.
They've been broken because, Mu'in Rabbani?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mu'in Rabbani said he was talking to a Fatah person, and the Fatah person said to him, well, we're on our way to becoming the SLA, the Southland. I said, on your way? I wish you were on your way. I think, Mu'in, you got the verb wrong. You became, a long time ago, the SLA, Well, how could you win with that? Yeah. It's hopeless. It's just...
And, because some of the questions that sometimes people have is how someone can be atheist, okay?
How can someone be...
not to believe in God, okay? And then and be anti-Zionist, and at the same time to keep his Judaism culture and identity, or maybe it should be an assimilation, into the culture, the place we're living, let's say the States or Germany or